Hi, today I'm going to be doing a teardown of this GRT Avionics Sport SX primary flight display. This is from an experimental avionics company. This is a common avionics panel found in experimental amateur built aircraft. I'm just going to power it up here on the bench, see if it works, and do a little tear down and see what's inside. This display here did have an issue previously where the display connector got loose, and part of the reason I'm doing this video is just to kind of show the construction of these experimental avionics systems based off of the limited stuff I know about this one. It is based off I think a STM32 inside, so I'll be really curious to find what sort of design they got going on in here. Around back, you see this one is the Sport SX 8.5 inch. There's the serial number and part number, and we got pitot-static port here over here, GPS antenna hookup. So yeah, go ahead and get power to it and see if it works. Alright, so for power, here we have the pin out. So we're just going to be hooking power onto ground, or 12 volts onto the pin 1, and then ground to pin 3. So we're just going to power this with a bench power supply and see if it works. Just going to use some DuPont connectors. Just cutting the plastic off of them. Alright, so pin 3 is ground as viewed from the back of the connector. And then pin 1 is input. 12 volt. And I'll prop this thing up here a little bit. And we'll put the power supply on it. On 12 volts. We'll get this hooked up. Swing it around here. And we'll put power on it. Alright, we got life out of it. It's drawing about 0.4 amps. It says loading software up here. It's pretty dumb. Yep, so AHRS communication fail. That's interesting. This unit has the AHRS built into it, so now it says okay. So software integrity check pass. The date is definitely not right. It's got update database. Alright, we'll hit accept on that. Looks like we're in an AHRS align mode. Let's just take a look around here. Yes, this was set up to be the control head of a trig transponder, it appears. And it's not seeing the EIS. So let's go. It does have a demo mode. I'm just playing around. So it looks like whatever fusion algorithm they have in here that handles the AHRs, it is going to try to initialize without the magnetometer connected, which for this unit, it's funny, it uses a XYZ interface with the IC. It's not serial, so, and there is no magnetometer. The magnetometer is external. So let's just have a look through the settings here. So let's go ahead and actually just disable all these serial. Because nothing is connected. I'll go ahead and leave the servo enabled. I actually do have one of the servos, so it'll be very interesting to see what that communication looks like. The only other thing I want to turn off, serial 2 is EIS, where's serial 3? Because I think it thinks that there is a ARINC interface on serial 3. So ARINC module connected. We will say no. Let's look at ARINC display link. Let's leave this on auto. Let's go back to main. Let's just go ahead and save this. Alright, so it does say pitch fail, or attitude fail, which is a good thing, I guess. Alright, so it doesn't look like it lets us engage the autopilot, which is a good thing, I guess. Let's go ahead and see what this is. Demo. So it looks like it's and this unit is running the production software. This came out of the aircraft, so it's kind of interesting that the production version allows you to run a demo. It would be really interesting to see how this works, or what this feature even is. And I'm going to, yeah, I don't think we're ever going to get attitude. So let's go ahead and tear it down. So we're just sitting at 0.5 amp still. So GRT claims under 1 amp. So with the magnetometer, this thing definitely probably will come in under that. It's about 7 watts of power draw as it sits in the bench now. So let's turn this power supply off. And we can remove this. Let's tear it down. So we have 4 screws up top, 3 screws on the bottom, 3 screws on the side. This is just appears to be some sort of shielding, and these separate along this line here. Well, these 2 plates here come up. This is just probably maybe just part of the main shell. I don't know. We'll go ahead and pull these 2 panels off right here. So I'll get a screwdriver. Looks like it's a Phillips 1. And these are all the, oh, never mind. It does look like 2 of these are shorter. Well, I'd definitely take note of that. Looks like these 2 here are long screws. And then there's just 1 screw back here. Alright, so bring this up. And there still is something holding on, so we'll go ahead and pop the screws out of the bottom. Short screw. Here we go. There it is. Finest avionics. Here's this. Well, I wonder if this is laser cut and bent on a brake. And here's that insert. Interesting. And that just lifts off. And yes, this back panel's held on with standoffs. Got some handwriting in there. And it looks like here's the GPS module. I wonder if it's just a U-Blocks module in there or something. So I guess the next step is to get this off here. We can pull this L-shaped bracket off of the screen and just detach all this from the display. So it does look like there's two ribbons for the display. There's this big one here, and then there's this one here. And it's interesting, this is just loosely zip tied in here. And this one's just loose, so. There's a temp sensor in here. And these power connectors here, these can just rub on this bracket. See how there's just an exposed metal bracket right here? And then here's our pitot static. So I guess the pitot is this top one here measuring differential, and then we have just the static here. So yeah, this is an interesting construction to say the least. I'll just lay this down like this. Just machined bracket. I wonder if these were hand countersunk. This almost looks like it was filed by hand. Very interesting. Oh, there's the screw. And off on me. Looks like we have the same bracket up here. We'll get that one removed. Go. Okay, so this looks like the power wire here for the screen, I would guess. This looks like a JSD connector in there. We'll get it unplugged carefully. And then I'll get these two ribbons back here. Here's this one. I'll carefully grab it from up under. And it's just like a little ZIF connector, lifted the latch. I'll just carefully lift that ribbon out of place. And then there's this big one here. Which appears just to be a press connector. And it is. It's just a press connector. Pop that loose. And I'll cut our little zip tie here. Because that's going to have to be removed to get the screen out of the way. So, warranty void if removed. Alright, so there's our display, and we'll very carefully get our wire. I'm guessing this is power wire. I'll feed that up through. And there's our display. This is a very interesting assembly. Quite heavy. This is where most of the weight in the unit is. We'll set this to the side. Here's an interesting bit. So, let's pull the top part of this shell off. Got 4 screws, 3 screws. That's interesting. It's almost like there should be a standoff here, but there's not. I should be pretty careful. So this is structurally just using the PCB as a support for this, which really holds the entire, well, the display is mounted to the aircraft and this is lighter, so this is probably okay, but oh yeah, this is pretty snug. Alright, now this should, well, we got these standoffs here in the center. Oh. Well, the whole thing's unscrewing. Let's keep going. There's our panel. One of our standoffs stayed behind. Well, a few of them did actually. Alright, I'm gonna go grab a pair of pliers to continue, because we're gonna need to get all these standoffs out the way. But based off of what we see now, I'm guessing this here's our I/O board, our main board, which has this STM32F103, and this is probably the brains of the operation. And then this is our AHRS board with probably temperature control. The interesting thing is it looks like there's like a X, a Y, and a Z. So three gyros and 3 accelerometers. one for on separate boards, which is an interesting design. Maybe not. Alright, I'm gonna go get these standoffs removed. Alright, continuing on, I got some pliers, so I know, not the best way to take standoffs off, but it works. Get all the standoffs loose. Alright, now let's carefully. Oh my gosh, yeah, there's just a random jumper wire. Hanging on there. That's a little sketchy. So there's a temp blob, and there's just a really thin gauge wire that goes into this via, or that pad there. And there's also just a jumper wire jumping two pads. That's interesting. There's our standoffs, and here's the main board. This is the brains of the operation here. I wonder if it's a two-sided board. We will get these unthreaded and see if there's anything hiding. This is why you shouldn't use pliers. Oh. We'll ignore that I was doing that for just a second. It looks like the only thing holding this board on is this third standoff here. This nut and these two here. That's interesting. So we'll take this loose. It's just a standoff behind that. Unthread these. Alright, that's loose. There's our board. And it is definitely a double-sided board. What the heck? Okay, so we're definitely going to have to pop this SD card out and take a look at what's on there. In fact, I'm just going to pop it out now and see what size it is. I'm guessing this is our database SD card. Oh, there it is. WinTech. The most reputable SD card there is. Yeah, this little module here is really interesting. They just have it hot snotted on there. I'm trying to see how it connects to the board. Well, there's a connector right here. This is where it connects. So I will take some high-resolution pictures of this board. I'll probably put them in the description. And then here's what we got going on up top again. Alright, let's continue on this board here. So, because this is soldered, I'm not going to remove this any further. We have 3 connectors here. Looks like there's a 5-volt out and a ground. And then here's a close-up of that little AHRS board. So this is definitely for the AHRS. And then here's the board underneath. And then there's our GPS module. So yeah, that's the GRT Sport SX. I'm also going to pop that SD card out, and I might chuck that in the description too. That's pretty interesting. So yeah, there's an empty BGA there. Yeah, that's a teardown. That's a look at some the finest experimental avionics there are, I guess. I might have to pull this off and just see what's kind of see if we can see who makes this display. So this definitely does come off. Move this to the side. Alright, this is loose. I'll lift this out the way. Mitsubishi Electric. So this is the screen. Looks like we're held in with 4 screws. I'm curious what this little, like 2mm, whatever kind of connector that is, does. Screws ain't all the way loose. Very carefully, I'll just ease our display out. Ooh, that ain't good. Alright, so it looks like this is kind of homebrew. These buttons and this metal frame. Two rotary encoders with the press button. It's a Gray Hill encoder. Looks like it's hand soldered in there. And then, yeah, we just got our ribbon. Yeah, so here's that display module from the front outside. There we go.